Many people will insist that you absolutely must use a VPN, but in this video I'm going to offer my opinion, and this opinion comes from someone who has spent nearly a decade working in the cybersecurity industry and has not been sponsored to say a particular provider is good. My opinion is that for the majority of people, VPNs are a pointless waste of money. VPN stands for a virtual private network. It provides an encrypted tunnel from you to the VPN server, and then onwards to the site you're trying to visit. Utilising the encrypted tunnel will slow the connection on both ends, as your system has to encrypt the network packets, and the server has to decrypt them. Then the process is repeated again when the data is sent back to you. It will impact your speed, but not necessarily your bandwidth. Your Internet Service Provider, ISP, will only see a volume of data transiting from you to the IP address of the VPN. Any sites you're trying to connect to will only see the IP address of the VPN server. So it has the ability to mask the true source and destination of a connection. Paid-for VPN services will most likely provide a dedicated server for you to connect to, and have no interest in the data you're viewing. But free VPNs have to make their money somewhere, and in that case, your data is most likely the item that is paying for the service. Some free VPNs won't even provide a dedicated server for you to connect to. Instead, your connection goes to another user, and vice versa. It potentially helps overcome geographic restrictions, but does nothing for data integrity. Much of the push for VPNs is privacy, hiding your IP address and keeping your data private, and in that respect, VPNs are a waste of time. They even show that they know my IP when I view their site. So what? Of course they will know my IP, since we just did a three-way handshake and they sent the data that I requested. I wonder if anyone using a VPN has ever logged into Facebook or Google and then carried on browsing the internet with the mindset that their session is private. Well, guess what? With many sites utilising Google Analytics or showing Facebook like buttons, they can easily see where you have been. If privacy is your concern, then you will get better results by only allowing cookies by exception. Cookies being stateful files stored on your system to track session and settings for each website. By setting your browser to only allow cookies by exception for a very small number of sites will mean most sites will not be able to track your usage. However, cookies aren't the only method of tracking, so you have to utilise cross-site blocking to prevent connections to third parties, or DNS blocking to prevent connections to known tracking websites. But that can be done for free and is relatively easy to set up. There is no need for a VPN. Now let's look at some scenarios where a VPN could be useful and whether there are any other mitigation options. And the first option I'm going to discuss is privacy. But wait, didn't I just say it wasn't necessary for privacy? Well, very true, although the case I'm looking at is the snooper being your ISP. Unfortunately, your ISP can see everything you do. Despite most of the traffic on the internet being encrypted via HTTPS, there are still enough clues within the data packets to get a good idea of the sites you're visiting. The type of information HTTPS will protect is preventing someone from seeing how much money is in your bank account, but they will still be able to see the bank you're with. Although if I was in the situation of having a snooping ISP, I would rather vote with my feet and change provider. It is easy to do in the UK, although I appreciate in some areas of the United States you may be locked in to a single provider. Streaming. Some sites, such as BBC iPlayer or Netflix, impose geographic restrictions to limit or outright deny services to people in certain countries. In this instance of where you're paying for a service but being denied it due to your location, there isn't really much of an alternative. Short of using a less than legal method to obtain the media instead, Tor, or the Onion router, wasn't built for such high bandwidth demands, so realistically VPNs are the best solution. Keeping with streaming, some ISPs have been known to throttle users' bandwidth to certain sites. Say you're watching a HD video on Netflix, then all of a sudden it reconfigures and drops down to a standard definition video. Well, it's most likely that was your ISP throttling your bandwidth and connection. VPNs would certainly help in that situation, as your ISP would only be able to see a volume of data to an IP which isn't Netflix. They have no idea where the high bandwidth data truly originated from. Again, in this situation, I would seriously look at changing ISP. Age and ID restrictions. I bring this subject up for the imminent change to adult sites in the UK, where proof of age and therefore identity will have to be provided. No way will I ever be handing out such details because, put simply, I have no faith that any company could look after such sensitive data without losing it through a data breach. In this situation of not wanting to supply personal details, I would look for a free solution of a proxy or Tor in order to circumvent the UK age verification restrictions. Free Wi-Fi. Free Wi-Fi connections can be horrifically abused with man-in-the-middle sniffing or tampering of the connections to insert crypto-coin mining scripts. This actually was a situation I had to deal with at work recently, where a few users were visiting a country in Africa, and the only Wi-Fi hub they could use was inserting crypto-coin mining scripts on every site they visited. Well, the client-based antivirus wasn't having any of it, and blocked access to all websites. Of course, the security team were the bad guys. How dare we block access to a rogue Wi-Fi hotspot and prevent corporate data from being stolen? A VPN in this situation could mitigate the risks of the free Wi-Fi. But is there an alternative? Well, maybe you could use a 3G or 4G mobile connection instead. Although I appreciate some people have limited data contracts. But if you can increase your data allowance for less than the cost of the VPN, then it's an ideal alternative. My current mobile contract is 30 gig of data per month, so I can happily sit watching HD videos via the mobile network. Downloading files. Now to the subject of certain downloads. Best I not speak the word though. It's well documented that movie and adult video producers have gone after users for supplying their copyrighted media, seeding a file to other people. Some ISPs will even throttle downloading of these files, even for perfectly legitimate things like Linux distributions. We also have the other issue of sites being blocked due to legal action taken against ISPs. A VPN will certainly mitigate the risks of being caught and will circumvent any ISP blocks. A good alternative, though, is cloud downloading services. Let another IP be the one to download and publicly seed the file. Or you could be really careful what you choose to download. Go for the largest files that have the fewest seeders. It's most likely the heavily downloaded files are the ones being monitored. Blocks can be bypassed by choosing a small ISP that has not been subjected to legal action of the movie companies. Government restrictions. The internet in some countries is heavily restricted. On one hand, this could be an ideal solution for a VPN, but I wouldn't be so quick to choose this route. Governments in these countries will most likely have the ability to monitor for well-known VPNs and may force providers to hand over encryption keys, thus completely unmasking your activities on the internet. A custom VPN solution or a smaller provider would be the only options worth considering, or even Tor. Accessing business or home network while travelling. VPN is a perfect use case for accessing business or home networks while travelling. Businesses can revoke access for staff when they leave the company, although in this situation it would be a purpose-built VPN server rather than utilising a pay-for service. So in conclusion, the areas where a VPN could prove useful is preventing snooping by your ISP, bypassing geographic restrictions on streaming services, and using free Wi-Fi services, which may have been tampered with. I'm not going to make any recommendation of a particular VPN service, but what I will say is you can set up your own open VPN server on a cloud hosting company. Although if you want to go for an established provider, which would be simpler, then look for one outside of the country you reside in, and preferably one which has no extradition with where you live. If you're going to go for a VPN, then make it as damn hard as possible for anyone to request logs of your activities. And stay away from free VPNs. There is no such thing as a free service. You will be paying for it with your data. And lastly, don't believe everything you see on VPN provider websites. I'm going to cite what I believe is a fine example of utter trash from NordVPN, where they talk about an ancient vulnerability from 1996 the ping of death, whereby deliberately fragmenting an ICMP ping request packet so that when reassembled it exceeds the maximum size of 65535 bytes, will Nord suggest that using a VPN will protect you, as well as suggesting you update your system. But considering every operating system made after 1998 is protected, there is absolutely nothing to worry about. Well, thanks for watching, I'll see you all later.